Ever since most Japanese and Korean car makers vacated that 1 million Philippine peso mark when it comes to their crossovers, Chinese car makers have stepped up and filled in the gap. Now we have several contenders in the 1 million peso price category for crossovers, and in this video we have two such entries from giant Chinese car makers. Over here we have the mighty Geely Coolray Sport, which will go head-to-head against the newcomer GAC's GS3 200T. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another Comparo. Now, at first glance, you might think that this will be a lopsided battle because the Geely Coolray Sport is priced at 140,000 Philippine pesos more expensive than GAC's GS3. Now, it would be more natural to think that the Coolray Sport will have more tech features and creature comforts, but both of these subcompact crossovers are marketed locally as top-spec variants. So it will be quite interesting to see if the GS3 has what it takes to undercut the Coolray Sport in terms of overall value. Now, like in my previous comparos, we will dive deep into both of these subcompact crossovers to see who emerges as the winner depending on the following categories. Categories we will use would be price, and then exterior looks, then interior quality and build materials, then tech features, and then we will look at their practicality and usable space, and then we'll take both crossovers out for a drive just to see their driving performance. Now, before we begin the comparo, I'd like guys to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button as well so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So now that that's out of the way, let's begin this comparo. Let's go. Since the GS3 comes in at 140,000 Philippine pesos cheaper than the Coolray Sport, it's easy to hand over the win in the price category to GAC's GS3. At 1,058,000 Philippine pesos, this top-spec GS3 is even cheaper than the mid-spec variant of the Coolray, which is the Coolray Premium. It's quite interesting that they price it that way, especially since the GS3 is also the largest subcompact crossover in its class. So when it comes to price, that round goes to the GAC GS3. Let's go. Now, when you look at both crossovers side by side, you can see that they come from two different ends of the design spectrum. The Geely Coolray Sport looks sleek and sporty, while the GS3 has a more traditional SUV-esque look to it. In fact, if you squint your eyes a little bit, you'll see that it has an uncanny resemblance to the Honda CRV, especially with all those chrome found in the front grille. Now, there is an effort to make it look a little bit more sporty, but that attempt falls short, especially when you compare it to the Geely Coolray. Now, both of these crossovers have a floating roof design here at the rear, but the Coolray has executed it much better, which makes it look sleeker than the one found in the GS3. This one has a little bit busier look to it, so overall, the execution of the floating roof design, I'll have to give that to the Coolray Sport. Now, the most obvious attempt at trying to look sporty for the GS3 can be found in the rear bumper. We have here dual exhaust tips, but they're not real, they're fake. These are just design cues to make it look like it's sportier than it is. It doesn't hold a candle to the genuine and authentic quad tailpipes that we can find in the Coolray Sport. So since the Coolray has that entire sporty appearance down pat, and the GS3 just looks like a confused crossover, I will have to give this round to the Geely Coolray Sport. Let's go. Alright, let's start first with the GS3's interior. The cabin has a more mature, subdued vibe to it when compared to the Coolray Sport. However, the quality of plastics used are softer and all the high traffic areas are padded with soft touch materials. Being the largest subcompact crossover in the market also helps with its overall interior space. You don't really need the panoramic sunroof here to have that nice airy feeling because the GS3 already has a sunroof. And have you even looked at the windshield and the windows? I mean, these babies are large AF. Now, I haven't even gotten to the seats yet. Now, the seats are some of the plushest seats I've ever sat in a subcompact crossover. It's almost as soft and as plush as the seats that you can find in the Geely Ascara, but these are not Napa leather. These are just regular, genuine leather seats. One miss though of the GS3 is the steering wheel material that's been used. Instead of leather, this top spec variant still gets urethane material, although I must say that this is very soft urethane and it's so supple that it could already pass for leather, at least for people who don't really care too much. But overall, the cabin materials of the GS3 is a lot more soft touch and it's a nice place to spend in when you're stuck in heavy traffic. Now, let's go over to the Coolray and check out the interior. The Coolray's interior looks futuristic and well put together. It's edgy and modern, but it suffers from some hard plastics throughout the cabin. Even the high traffic areas like the top of this door panel has a tad bit harder plastics than the one that I found in the GS3. When it comes to the seats though, the seats of the Coolray are also on the firm side and the quality of the leather is a little bit lower than that of the GS3s. The cabin's color scheme also may put off some of the more conservative buyers out there, commonly known as the Titos and Titas of Manila. Now, given the hard plastics in some of these high traffic areas, plus the lower quality of leather, well, I'll have to give this round to the GAC GS3. So the GS3 takes the round for the interior quality and materials. Let's go. Now, when it comes to tech features and advancements, well, the Coolray leaves the GS3 in the dust. The Coolray gets a fully digital instrument gauge here, a larger infotainment screen, this techy-looking shifter, and you get a self-parking feature as well. Now, the fact that it also has a 360-degree view camera with a 3D view option, well, that's just the cherry on top. Coupled with a panoramic sunroof, and it will make any tech-crazy millennial happy. Now, it's quite obvious that the price premium over the GS3 went to all of these tech gadgets, but it's surprising also to know that even the lower variants of the Coolray, well, they also get most of these features. So the GS3 will have a hard time keeping up with the Coolray when it comes to tech features and comfort. But let's transfer over to the GS3 just to see if it has what it takes to take the fight to the Coolray when it comes to the tech department. Now, the GS3 has some basic tech features of most modern cars like a rear view camera, an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, tire pressure monitoring systems, and an automatic climate control system. However, the Coolray also has all those features and so much more. So tech-wise, you wouldn't really feel too shortchanged when you opt for the GS3. It's just that when going against a cutting-edge features and tech leader like the Coolray, well, it doesn't really stand a chance. So in that regard, I'll have to give the tech features round to the Coolray Sport. Let's go. Now, when it comes to practicality and usable space, the Geely Coolray Sport is par for the course when it comes to a subcompact crossover. It's got a decent amount of space in the back seat, a decent amount of legroom, headroom, and knee room. And for its trunk space, it has 330 liters of capacity. So that's good enough for like a month's worth of groceries or maybe even a medium-sized luggage. Now, the GS3's trunk capacity is larger at 370 liters. It also has more space in the back seat, primarily because it has more headroom, knee room, and legroom, owing to the fact that the GS3 is much larger in terms of dimensions versus the Coolray Sport. So while it lost out on the exterior looks department because of its boxier configuration, the GS3 wins in the practicality and usable space department. So I'll give this round to the GS3. Now let's take both crossovers out for a drive just to see what kind of driving performance we can expect from both vehicles. This top-spec GS3 is powered by a 1.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine that's good for 136 horses and 202 Newton-meters of torque. Now, it's down on power versus the Geely Coolray Sport, but it is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission that has been sourced from Aisin. Now, Aisin are the same guys that make Toyota's automatic transmissions, so you know that you've got dependability and durability in terms of the transmission down pat. Now, for sure, this baby won't win any stoplight drag races when you compete against the Coolray Sport, but it doesn't really market itself as a sporty crossover. It more than makes up for that lack of speed and power with its plush cabin and its really roomy interior space. The overall visibility of this GS3 is fantastic. You've got a really large windshield and large windows as well, so it feels like you're driving a much bigger car than a subcompact crossover. In fact, sometimes I get the feeling that I'm driving a small van rather than a subcompact crossover. Now, it doesn't mean that it handles like a van though. It's just that it just feels so big and roomy and comfortable and plush. However, I have to stress out that despite saying that it's not really a sporty subcompact crossover, it's not really slow. It's just that it really doesn't prioritize on speed, but rather it prioritizes more on the ride comfort and overall plushness of the cabin. Now, I'm not saying that this GS3 is a slow crossover. In fact, it's not. It could keep up with the best of all the subcompact crossovers, just as long as it's not the Geely Coolray Sport. The Geely Coolray Sport has the most powerful engine in its class, with 177 horsepower on tap and 255 Newton-meters of torque. All that power is put to good use with its 7-speed wet dual-clutch transmission. It's quite amazing to know that despite the amount of power output that the Coolray has, it also delivers the same fuel economy that the GS3 can give you. So that's pretty amazing, but I'm pretty sure, guys, that you'd use more fuel with the Coolray Sport because it's so tempting to send it every chance you can get. The ride quality is also quite decent, but not as plush and as cuddling as the one found in the GS3. The suspension tuning of the Coolray Sport is more tuned towards the sporty side, so you got a sharper handling characteristic than that of the GS3, but it sacrifices also on overall plushness. Now, since the Geely Coolray Sport is the better overall driving performer, I will have to give the driving performance category win to the Geely Coolray Sport. It's pretty tough to beat the car that has the most powerful engine output in its class and this kind of sporty driving dynamics. However, the GS3 edges it out a little bit when it comes to overall cabin comfort. It's pretty tough to call the winner between these two subcompact crossovers. Despite belonging in the same car category, they cater to two totally different buyer personalities. The GS3 is built like a tank with its solid sounding doors and larger road presence. It's a larger interior space and the quality of materials used in the cabin would please the more mature crowd, the Titos of Manila, or maybe those people who just want subtle elegance inside their cabins. Now, the Coolray Sport continues to impress me with its driving performance. Its sporty design cues and demeanor is meant to please younger, sportier buyers out there who want all of their tech features and driving performance all wrapped in an affordable package. Now, the Coolray Sport has a price premium over the GS3, but you could clearly see that this price premium went to all of those tech features that can be found in the Coolray. In the end, I'll call this a tie. Both of these subcompact crossovers cater to two totally different types of car buyers. So the true winner in this comparo is you, the car buyer. If you want absolute sportiness and tech features, then the Geely Coolray is your car. But if you want cabin comfort and quality of materials, then the GS3 presents a very compelling choice. The great thing about this is both of these subcompact crossovers don't really stray too far from the 1 million Philippine peso mark. Once again, thank you guys for watching one of my comparos. You know guys, I love doing these videos for you, so it would be great if you could give this video a like and if you could subscribe to my channel as well. Anyway, I will see you again in my next video. Bye-bye!